Welcome everybody to the Chess Lab and welcome to puzzle training for intermediate players. I've done puzzle training for beginners the last video. It's time to move on to intermediate. So I made it to 40. I spent quite some time because I went quite slow. Now, since this is puzzle training for intermediates, I'm not going to spend as much time explaining literally everything. But still, when it's due, I'm gonna take my time. So okay, actually, we are very lucky that chess.com didn't go crazy, and so we are moving from where we left the last time. So this was the puzzle where we left. Okay, so let's count material. We have 4 pawns, they have 4 pawns. We have 2 rooks, they have 2 rooks. And we have a bishop, they have a knight. So material is equal. I'll drink some water every once in a while because it's very hot in this time here in Italy. There's only one check. Maybe you see the bottle here and it's annoying, so let me put it here. There's only one check here, which is rook e8. I don't think that's good. They just take and I don't see a continuation. There are no other checks. Are there any captures? Not really. Are they threat of mate? Not really. So then we move on from checks, captures to attacks. There is g4, right, which is a fork. Now we have to check whether or not g4 works or doesn't work. So after g4, what can they do? Well, if they simply move the knight back, we can just take, they take back. And yes, this is a fork, but we just move back, threatening to move the other rook, take, or even better, probably going here, take, and we're just up a piece. So g4 is very bad. Let's try to check what happened after rook to f2 check. Well, if we go to h1, they just move the knight, which is probably not good, but we can go to g1. And all of a sudden, we are attacking both their rook and also their knight at the same time. I don't see a way for them to save both of these things. So, oh, they take there. That's very interesting. Now, if they take the knight, they take, we take, they take, and that's equal, maybe even good for them. But what if we take here first? Well, they have to take back and then we are up a piece. So that was relatively straightforward. Okay, so here even without counting material super precisely, we can notice that they have a queen, we have a rook, so we are down material. However, we can take on e7, obviously creating massive counterplay. The question is, how do we take? Well, since there are many pawns and the king can't really escape too much, it may be a case of some weird back rank mate, which is not really back rank, but almost. And so my instinct is to take with this rook and then do this, and the king has no squares, and if they go here, this is checkmate. So these patterns are just kind of flowing in my mind. So rook b takes e7, right? What happens if they go here? Well, we check. If they go back, this is checkmate. So takes, they go back, check, and then they move up, let's say here. Then we check again. And so here it doesn't matter what they do. Even if they went here, they will have to go here, but then this is gonna be checkmate. So that's just it. This is just a forced checkmate. Okay, so here let's count material again. 5 pawns, 2 rooks, 1 queen, 1 minor piece. We have the knight, they have the bishop. So once again, material is equal. It's time to figure out whether we have something or not. So instantly like that, I don't see the solution, but still, let's try to figure it out. So there is a check, which is queen takes h2 check. Now, if the king moves, we play queen h1 checkmate. So let's say they take. Of course, the queen is defended by the knight, so they really have to take with the rook. And now what do we do? Well, we can play rook takes e1 check. The king's only move is king to g2, and then we play knight e3 check. they may try to go to f2, and knight takes c2 is just winning. We are up a full rook, so let's do it again. Takes. Here the king cannot go to f2 because of the knight. Check. Now let's say they move here, so they defend the queen. We can still take, and after they take back, we take the bishop, being still up a rook. So queen takes h2, surprisingly, I think is actually, I think it's just the best move. Yeah, it's a little bit counterintuitive, but here we go. Look for checks, guys. So, all right, here what's going on. Let's count material again. And by the way, wait a second, because I have to connect. I have here my little air conditioner, let's call it. It's not. I don't think you call it air conditioner. I think you call it something else. But English is not my first language, so let's call it air conditioner. The problem is the cable is not that long, so I'll have to figure out a way to do this anyways. It's going to be annoying for you because that's a lot of noise, but as I said in the previous video, I never wear a t-shirt here at home. It's just for the video to be more professional, because here it's really hot, so I need this. And you know, when it's hot, you don't really focus, so I really need that to be able to focus a little bit here. So anyways, you will notice, compared to the previous video, if you watched both very good, I'm counting material all the time here, because positions are instinctively a little bit more complex. So okay, let's count material. So 5 pawns, 2 minor pieces, rook, 2 rooks. Okay, so material once again is equal. However, our queen is hanging, our knight is hanging. So there are some problems. Not to mention, they may be threatening something like bishop takes e6, and the knight is hanging. If the knight moves, there is checkmate. The rook will be hanging. Queen takes may be an idea, right? And if the knight moves, then this may be very bad. I don't know. So overall, oh, not to mention also this bishop is hanging. Look at that. So overall, there are quite some problems in this position. Let's try to sort it out. So let's look at checks. Of course, there is this, but I don't see a continuation after king takes. Again, a lot of our pieces are hanging, and we just lost the rook. So sorry, the queen. So that wouldn't be good. Okay, so what else is there? Bishop takes, king takes is an idea. The problem is knight e4. I don't think it works. And after bishop takes, king takes, the rooks are defended. So that's a problem. So, okay, after bishop takes and king takes, obviously we have other checks. Not to g2 though. So we only have queen h2. And then maybe we save the knight, but then this falls with attack on the knight. I don't know, it's complicated. So let's try to look at queen g3 check. Or, now that I'm noticing, even better, queen e3 check. Oh, and that must be the solution. Queen e3 check, of course, this bishop is pinned. My mind rejected queen e3 because it just falls to the bishop, but the bishop is pinned. So queen e3 check, the king has to move, and queen takes is just checkmate. So this is just a mating chew. But as you can see, sometimes these are tricky, which is fine. Just take your time and solve it. Okay, so moving on to this puzzle here. I had the temptation to jump straight into the puzzle, but let's take some time to count material. 3, 3, 6, 1, 7 pawns. 3, 3, 1, 7 pawns. Queens, rooks. Okay, we are down an exchange. This is only the difference. However, their king is exposed. So this is the moment where perhaps a forced mate is on the board. So here, there are a couple of moves that instinctually I'm looking at. There is also a third check, which shouldn't be excluded necessarily. The idea of opening up the b file is not so appealing. First of all, it's too slow. But also rook b8 is never possible, which is important to notice. At least if the queen stays still. There may be some combinations where the queen has to move and then rook b8 may be a thing. But at the moment, no. Also, what's my opponent threatening? Queen takes c6, which not only forks these two pieces, but also allow the king more space, because this pawn is very importantly controlling the b5 square, which creates mating nets. After queen takes c6 and queen takes a8, the king is much more free to move, and so this combo of pieces, despite very well known being the most the strongest, I should say, combo in chess, the queen and the knight, may be not effective enough. So okay, let's start with queen d2 check. For some reasons this is my instinct, but it may be completely wrong. The point is that after queen c5 check and king b3, I mean, I struggle to see a continuation. There may be b takes c4 check. Again, remember, rook b8 never does nothing here, never does anything, I should say. And I don't know, it seems to me that they have so many apparently promising squares. Well, not this one here. I mean, it kind of feels too much. It kind of feels too much. After queen d2 check instead, they cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here, cannot go here. So if you find the check and then they have just one reply, that's an easier line to calculate. So I would suggest that. So queen d2 check, king to b3. Okay, how do we continue? Well, here there is a very nice move, which is knight to d4 check. And all of a sudden you realize this is actually checkmate. So this is another case of checkmate in 2 moves. Okay, so moving on once again, what's going on here? So okay, let's count material again. I was about to rush, but let's count that. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pawns. We have 2 minor pieces, they have 2 minor pieces. We have 1 rook, they have 2 rooks, so they are up a full rook. However, 2 of their minor pieces are hanging. Now, if we take the bishop, there are no checks, by the way. This doesn't seem too good, because bishop takes, they save a piece while saving their bishop. We can take back, of course, and then it's interesting, but I think that's not the solution. So I think they can save themselves by moving the rook perhaps, and then moving out with the king, or even sacrificing 2 rooks, because, like, for example, okay, let's actually calculate it. What was I saying? Check, takes, they are up a full rook now. Yeah, they're up a full rook. But they can also just move here. What am I talking about? There's no mate anymore. Yeah, there's no mate anymore. Even if they take, there's nothing. So I think, yeah. So the thing is, I think the solution is b takes c3, because of course there's no check. What about captures? B takes c3, and here you're setting up a mating net. You are setting up either bishop takes a3 with check and then bishop b2, or you are setting up very simply rook takes a3 and then rook takes a1, both of which seems quite unstoppable. And after b takes c3, this bishop is still hanging. So, and if they give away the rook this time, well, you didn't give up a piece. So from being down a rook, you're up a piece in the end of the variation. So I really think that b takes c3 is the solution. Now b takes c3, how can they go about this? Yeah, I think they have to play bishop takes e5, because now if you play rook takes a3, I guess that's defended, but they can give it away. And then there is no mate, you have to take. And I guess it's an interesting position, but takes or check or takes here. And they may still be in trouble, to be completely honest, but they may get out of here. But maybe I'm missing something even better for them that escapes my attention. But okay, after b takes c3, bishop takes, you know what, maybe rook takes is actually the best move, but I was just going to play bishop takes a3 with check, and that's it. Also because after king to b1, yeah, bishop b2, I think checkmate is unstoppable now. Because they still have to take, we have to take, because the bishop is undefended, and we are still threatening mate, so they really have to give it away. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna go with this, and then they're probably gonna check here, sorry, take here or check here, and then I'll figure it out. Okay, that's correct. Okay, bishop takes e5. Again, rook takes is interesting, but first of all, after rook takes, there is an additional issue which makes it a little bit more complicated, which is they can check us. Like, they can play rook d8 with check, and this makes things much more complicated. Like, where are we going? We go here perhaps, but then check. Where are we going? We go here perhaps, then check. We go here perhaps, then check. We go here perhaps, then check. I don't know, it gets super complicated for absolutely no reasons. Instead, this is nice and clean. Check, they have to go here, here. We are threatening checkmate. They don't have checks unless they want to lose massive amount of material. If they give up this, it's still fine. So I'm just gonna go with this, and yeah, here we go. They have to give away this, but now they're just down a piece. So that was very nice. 46. Let's keep moving. So this is, whoa, that's a wild position. Oh my goodness, my brain is hurting almost. What is going on here? What is going on? So let's count material. I don't know how necessary that is. 3 pawns against 4 pawns. We have, so this knight for this knight, this rook for this rook. They are up a pawn. And basically we have, they have a pawn and a queen for a bishop and a rook. So they are up material, I think. The position is wild, and by the way, let me click this button here. Hopefully this is fine. I think I clicked the right button. Anyways, so what do we do here? Well, I think my first instinct was this, maybe this to win this, right? Discover check, check, many things, but you know what? There is also another idea, which is to just bring the last piece into the attack, because this knight is actively into the attack, this rook is actively into the attack, this bishop is actively into the attack because of 2 reasons. It can be the protagonist of discoveries, but if not that, is definitely the protagonist of the defender of the knight. So these 3 pieces are fully into the attack. This king luckily is not involved in the action, because that's an action you don't want to involve your king in, but this rook is not. So what about rook to f1 check? I mean, if 3 pieces are not checkmating the king, I mean, I think 4 will. So after this check, what are they gonna do? I'm not super sure. For example, it's not easy to move for them, because if they interpose with the queen, that's winning, and we don't even have to calculate further. Let's say they go back here. Of course, this is controlled by the rook, this by the knight, so they just have 2 moves, which are apparently logical. If they go here, I think we check. They have to move up, check here, and checkmate, thanks to both the knight and the pawn. So after the check, they only have 1 move. If this doesn't work, I don't think nothing's gonna work for them. But here we have check. They only have 1 legal move, and then this is checkmate. So no, not even this works. So yeah, rook f1 is just winning. So sometimes it's just about finding the first best move. I think the difficult part of this puzzle is to understand which check is good. If you look at this puzzle here, I think you can see the diagram, even though it's small. But after rook to, what is that, f1? After rook to f1 check, because the king went to c3 in the diagram, in the diagram the king is on g7, but after king f6 is the start of the puzzle. So king f6, rook f1 check, king g8. The way you find rook from c8 takes and not from f1, it's very similar, if you think about it, to the other puzzle. Where is it? Here, this puzzle here, right? After rook takes h8, I played the rook from the side, taking with check, because again, the construction of checkmate, of kind of bank rank. So these are patterns that you learn with experience. But anyways, let's keep going. So, okay, I'm not gonna count material here, I'm just gonna calculate. So what about queen h5 check? It seems to me this is just crushing. If they move here or here, this is instantly checkmate. So I guess that they're gonna go here. That's my suspicion. And then I'm gonna check here. Of course, interposing the pawn changes nothing. Then I'm gonna go here. They have to interpose with the queen. And then I'm gonna check them here. Their only move is this. And now what do I do? Now it's very tricky. What am I supposed to do here? I don't think I have a continuation, actually. Unless I'm missing something sneakier. For example, here, here, here. And after this, I play this perhaps, but then they just move here. What am I gaining from this? That's very tricky. Oh, unless I'm silly. Unless I check immediately with the queen. Oh, of course, that's just the solution. And once they move here or here, then this is checkmate. Okay, so I just want to make sure I'm not super confused. Like, check here, for example, here, if they go here or here is mate. If they go here, I take first here. Yeah, and then if they go here, then the queen cannot interpose. Same thing here, and this is going to be mate. Okay. Yeah, first check on f5. And then checkmate follows naturally. So as you can see here, was just about to really just make sure you get the order right of operation. Let's put it this way. So this is another very tricky one, to be honest, but maybe I got it. So let's count the material, which is this is difficult to count. I mean, it's easy, but it's difficult to evaluate. Like, they are up 3 pawns. They are up 3 pawns. So okay, they are better, obviously, material-wise. Okay, I have to keep check something here. So, what's going on? My first instinct, to be completely honest, is to deliver a check. They go here. I check them because I noticed this alignment. They take, and then I check them again. They move, and then I take the rook, and I'm up an exchange, but it's an exchange for 3 pawns in a complicated position. So I'm not sure how much confident I am in this, to be honest here. Because even if I'm up an exchange, let's say that all of these 3 pieces disappear. I mean, I'm not sure how good of a position this is for me, because they are up 3 pawns. So if I'm going to equal, like if this is a puzzle that asks you to find a way to draw the game, then I think that rook h1 is a pretty good attempt. But I don't think that's the way to go, because even bishop e7 seems pretty reasonable, to be honest. Idea being, if they move away, then all of a sudden bishop to f6 and they may get mated even. So I don't know, but okay, rook h1 check, king g7. Maybe there's something better that I'm missing. Check here, check. What happens if they go here, let's say? Well, then all of a sudden take with the rook. And then I don't even know how to continue this. I'm not sure. I may go here. What am I trying to do here? They go here or something. Check. Maybe that's not so easy. That's not so easy. Oh, I actually solved it. It is bishop f6. Wow. It is bishop f6. But how do I explain to you guys how do I find bishop f6? I don't know. Well, I guess that this is how you find it. So rook h1 is tempting, but again, as I showed you, despite you are able to win an exchange, even with check, even in such position, you have the rook here, the bishop here, and they have all these pieces the same. It's not so easy to continue, because whatever you do, they're gonna play knight d5, and again, they're up 3 pawns, and these pieces becomes active, you're not gonna able to win them. So rook h1 seems to not work, at least intuitively, and by intuitively I mean you check some moves, so it's quite a concrete intuitively, if that makes sense. And so you are like bishop f6, because remember there is checks, captures and attacks, but as I said in the previous video, I want to repeat here, there are checks, threat of mate, captures and attacks, if we really want to be precise. And big shout out to Surya Ganguly, grandmaster from India, because he explained this concept in a course that I followed. So threat of mates are very important, and bishop f6 is a threat of mate. I really want to emphasize this. I think that including threat of mate in the check, captures and attack model of thinking is an improvement to this model of thinking. Again, shout out to Surya for that. Yeah, so bishop f6 is huge, because you are just threatening mate at this point. And my brain immediately excluded bishop f6 in the beginning, because of course, just rook takes f7, there is no way there is mate, because this super important light square all of a sudden is free to the king, and so rook h1 is not mate anymore. But you have to calculate a move further, because after the king goes here, rook h8 is still checkmate, thanks to this very awkward positioning of the rook. So just to rewind, bishop f6 threatens mate, they take your bishop, you check anyways, they go here, and this is checkmate because they don't have escape square. I mean, it's wild, but it works. And after bishop f6, then how do you stop rook h1 check? If you move the pawn, well, now the light square bishop is still alive, because you spend the time moving the pawn and not capturing the bishop, so rook h1 is mate on the spot. And so because of all of these reasons, I think that bishop f6 is just the best move. Bishop f6, yeah, that's crazy. And here we go, beautiful. 49. I'll get to 50. How much it has gone, this recording? For half an hour. I think that's good. Half an hour is better than an hour, unless this puzzle lasts forever, which is, it's possible. It seems not super easy, even though knight takes h7 is appealing. It's a crazy move. It may be the solution. That would be funny. So, well, they are up a piece, right? The pawns are whatever. We can even count that the pawns are equal, but they are up a full piece. Like, this is a piece we don't have. These two guys are there hanging by themselves, but then there is the bishop on c3, which is extra. They are attacking the rook, they are threatening the pawn, and overall is not looking good for us. So they're threatening rook b2 to trade rooks and entering a winning endgame. They're threatening then bishop d1 to just take all of our pawns. So we have to win. Now there is knight check, which is interesting, and after the king moves, let's say here, we have knight takes, but after rook takes, I'm not sure how good this is, and if anything, this is at best a draw. But still, even after we take the bishop back and they win a pawn, they have a bishop for the knight in a position where we have pawns on both sides of the board, and they would have a freaking 4 against 1. Yes, maybe there are some checks, we pick up this pawn. They will have a 3 against 1. Like, this is scary, and this is a protected pass pawn, no matter what, if we take or not. So, I don't know, knight e4 tempting, and in a real game it may be a shot, but I don't know why my instinct is like creating a mating knight against this king, which is wild to say, but it may be a thing. For example, what about knight takes h7? Maybe this is crazy and it leads nowhere, so we may have to check what happened on knight e4. Knight e4 may be the solution, but again, I just want to make sure. Knight takes, what are they gonna do? For example, what if they attack the knight? If they attack the knight, we have rook here. And okay, I admit that maybe I went a little bit overexcited, even though if they go to h6, for example, we can just go back. And we are threatening rook h7 checkmate. I don't know if they can stop it. What about bishop here? That may be a move. Yeah, there is that. Also, they are not forced to do this. They can just move here, and I don't have this check because of this. So you know what? Maybe my instinct of playing knight takes h7 was not correct. Maybe I was wrong. It's possible. So what about check here then? Let's check it out again, because maybe my idea that they take here is a little bit superficial, and there are more important things here. But this is very complicated. Yeah, I was hoping this video would last just half an hour or something. I don't think so. which is interesting. So, because listen, there are many interesting ideas of like creating mating nets. Like, for example, if our rook was here and the pawn was here, that would be checkmate, but not really, because they can take and take here. It's very tricky. This is really tricky. Oh, what about rook d7 threatening rook f7 checkmate? Bro, threatening checkmate is such a huge game changer, because it's that typical quiet move that you never consider. So guys, it's not check, captures and attacks, it's checks, threat of mates, captures and attacks. It's 4. I think this is improved version. Because now rook d7, look at that. All of a sudden it's like, whoa, it's so strong. And it just makes sense all of a sudden. And we are threatening checkmate. Can they move the king? Okay, yeah, they can move the king, they can go here. But then we check them. That's protected by the knight. If they go here, this is checkmate. And if they go back, well, then this is definitely checkmate. So moving the king doesn't work. It's forced checkmate if they move the king. Yeah, it is. So they cannot move the king. What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do? What's another way to prevent checkmate here? I know, of course, there is rook b2 check. That's the obvious move that they have. But I'm trying to see if there's something else. Like if they just give up the bishop randomly, it feels like it solves nothing, because then we are just threatening two things. Because is this pawn the crucial part? Even if we make those two disappears, this is still huge. Huge. Maybe it's a little bit different though, because then this is not checkmate anymore. But if they do this, after I go here, if they do this, then if they go here, this is checkmate because the king is controlling the square. And if they do this first, then we just move back. Sorry, I have to be very specific. I go here, they go here, here. Now we are threatening checkmate because the king still has to go to f5. And after this and back, again we're threatening checkmate because the king still has to go to f5, but we're also threatening the rook. So if they do this, we just win the rook and we're up a rook. So yeah, rook d7 really looks fantastic. So okay, what about rook b2 check, the obvious move? Nothing's obvious here, of course. So if we go back, they have a variety of moves, probably just a repetition, because we don't have ways to escape these light squares, and so it's just a repetition. So after here and here, if we don't want to repeat, if we want to win, king h3 is required. And here the same things, same problems for black applies, except ideas like king f5 are even weaker, because we just freaking play e4 with checkmate on the spot because we are controlling this square. So after these, and these, maybe bishop to g4 check, but we just take it. And after h5 check, I think we can even just go here to f3, because now the rook is here, there is no rook f1. And they are just lost. We are threatening mate, rook f2, we just take it. So I think it's rook d7. And I'm gonna play it. And it seems like it is. Again, if we go back, I don't really see. They just check us again. And we cannot escape. So I think the only way is to go here. Oh, they give up the rook. Here we take it. And we made it to 50, so hopefully you enjoyed this. In the next video, I will do the same I've done today. It's probably not gonna be half an hour, it's probably gonna be much more if I finish it, which is gonna be from 50 to 60. Hopefully, I may lose the streak, and it's going to be puzzle solving for advanced players. So make sure to subscribe and activate the bell so you don't miss that video. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your chess.